At the grand bed, his father, the king, lay still. The lines on his face were smoothed in death. John felt a deep pang of sorrow. He was alone. His father was gone. He was to be king now. The weight of the crown pressed upon him. He wasn't sure he was ready. John stood slowly. The throne room awaited. His father's advisors would be there. They would expect him to be strong. He had to be strong, for his people and for his kingdom. But fear gnawed at his heart. He was young. Could he rule wisely? Could he live up to his father's legacy? John walked towards the door, his head held high. He would face the future with courage. He would honor his father's memory. He would be the king his people needed. But deep inside, doubt lingered. He was stepping into a role he never desired, shrouded in the shadow of his father's greatness. As John entered the throne room, a hush fell over the gathered crowd. Their faces, usually bright with respect for their king, were clouded with something else. Was it fear or anger? John couldn't tell. He walked to the throne and sat down, feeling the cold weight of the crown settle upon his brow. Days turned into weeks. John struggled to fill his father's shoes. He attended council meetings, listened to advisors, and issued decrees. But something was wrong. The people seemed distant, their faces closed off. Whispers followed him through the castle halls. He tried to speak to the servants, the guards, anyone who might tell him what was happening. But they only looked away, their faces tight. He was their king, yet they seemed to fear him. One day he overheard two servants whispering in the hallway. "He's not like his father," one said. "He'll lead us to ruin." John's heart sank. They didn't trust him. They thought he would be a bad king. John retreated to his chambers, his heart heavy. He had tried his best, but it wasn't enough. The whispers, the fearful glances all told him the same thing. He wasn't fit to be king. He was failing his people, just as he had feared. The storm broke on a day like any other. John was in the garden seeking solace amongst the flowers. Suddenly, a roar split the air. He turned to see a mob of villagers surging towards him, their faces twisted with fury. "He's not our king!" they shouted. "He'll destroy us all!" John was stunned. They hated him. They wanted him gone. He had never felt so alone, so utterly lost. Terror gripped him. He turned to flee, but the mob was upon him. They grabbed at his clothes, his arms, their faces full of hatred. He was surrounded, trapped. Despair washed over him. This was it. This was the end. Just when he thought all hope was lost, a figure burst through the crowd. A tall, strong man, clad in leather and fur, with a bow slung across his back.